Hey, welcome to day 13. The Apostle Paul wrote in Romans chapter 7, I do not understand what I do. For what I want to do, I do not do, but what I hate, I do. So, a little side note before we continue on here. Doesn't that sound a lot like that sluggish, heavy, sick feeling in our soul that we talked about yesterday? For I know that good itself does not dwell in me, that is, in my sinful nature. For I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. For I do not do the good that I want to do, but the evil I don't want to do, that's what I keep on doing. In my inner being, I delight in God's law. But I see another law at work within me, waging war against the law of my mind and making me a prisoner of the law of sin at work within me. What a wretched man I am. Who will rescue me from this body that is subject to death? You ever feel like Paul there? I know I sure have, and I sure do pretty often. I don't want to do that sin, but then I do it. Or I want to do that good thing, but then I don't. The words sinful nature here are sometimes translated as the flesh. They are things that our instincts desire. Instinct, those natural tendencies within us that drive us towards food and sleep and sex and self-preservation and instant gratification for the physical body. But then, for the mental state, they're those instincts that push us to find safety and desire security and affection and power, which, to be absolutely fair, those are not all bad things. Not until they become the main things. Or until, as John Mark Comer quotes Augustine saying, they become disordered desires in our lives. Because when they become disordered, or they become the main things, they overpower us and they point us away from love. Now, you know as well as I do that we can find excuses for putting those first and making those the main things. We'll excuse it by saying that we're loving ourselves, or that we have to get our own house in order before we can really start to take care of others. I have to be able to take care of myself before I can take care of others, which aren't inherently false statements. Until, and there's that word again, until they cause us to ignore the greatest commandments, to love God and to love others. See, we'll bend these desires and will benefit the desire for love even, not just all those desires, those instincts that I mentioned, but we'll bend them to benefit one person first, foremost, and maybe sometimes only, and that person is me. In the end, though, it hurts other people, and, it also hurts me. But Jesus and his early followers had a way to take down this flesh, to combat this flesh. In Matthew 16:24, Jesus tells us to take up your cross. In Galatians, Paul writes that those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passion and desires. Those who belong to Jesus have crucified the flesh. In Colossians, we read Paul again saying, put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature: sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed. So that's just a few quick examples of what they said, but it seems to come down to the cross and self-denial. That's their answer. But how? Because obviously we're not going to jump on a cross in our time and culture, and that wouldn't accomplish anything anyway. And how does this self-denial thing work? Well, I'm out of time for today, but we are going to get there. For today, what I want to invite you to do is make two lists. Here's list number one, what are the things you don't want to do, but you keep on doing? And the second list is, what are the things that you want to do, but you don't do? And then after you've made some lists, this is almost like the pros and cons list, only they're all cons. Ask God today to help you begin flipping the script. Tomorrow, we'll look at how he said that we can. I'll see you then.